With everything going on, climate crisis, resources running low, we're kind of being forced to rethink everything. Our whole relationship with the world is up for debate. So the big question is, how are we actually doing it? How are we redesigning our future? Well, today, we're going to dive into some of the latest research and see how we're reimagining our landscapes, from our own backyards all the way up to our biggest megacities.
So here's the plan. First, we're going to take a quick look back. See how we got here. It's like a living history written in our gardens and cities. Then we'll jump into the practical stuff, what we're actually doing right now. After that, we'll look to the future. We're talking wild new biomaterials and the absolutely incredible role that AI is starting to play. And to wrap it all up, we'll bring it back to what really matters. Us. People.
All right, so first up, history. Where did this whole modern relationship we have with the landscape even start? Well, the key thing to get is this. Our surroundings have always been a canvas, a place where we paint our values, our ambitions, and our power.
So let's start way back in the Renaissance. You had these perfectly symmetrical gardens popping up everywhere. And they weren't just pretty, they were symbols of power. This whole idea of controlling nature really hit its peak in the 17th century with that French formal style. You've probably seen pictures of Versailles, right? It was basically a giant statement saying humans are in charge here. Then, boom, the Industrial Revolution comes along and just completely rewrites the map, swapping out fields and forests for cities and factories. And all of that, well, it brings us right to today and a whole new geological age.
And that age is called the Anthropocene. I know, it sounds like a big sci-fi word, but this isn't just some buzzword. It's a scientific reality. It means that for the very first time in Earth's history, human activity is the single biggest force shaping our planet's climate and environment. Think about that. And all that pressure is driving everything from the loss of biodiversity to climate change, which, of course, is exactly why we so urgently need brand new ways of thinking.
Okay, so, faced with all these massive challenges, what are we actually doing about it? Like, right now? The good news is, we're seeing this huge shift. We're moving toward practical, resilient solutions that are all about working with our environment instead of fighting against it.
And you can see that whole philosophical shift perfectly right here. On one side, you have classical landscaping. You know the look. Big, thirsty lawns, exotic plants that need a ton of work to keep alive. But on the other side, you've got xeriscaping. And that's a whole different ballgame. It's a design philosophy that's all about conserving water using native plants that are already tough and drought-tolerant. And guess what? They also support local biodiversity and totally slash your maintenance costs.
And listen, this isn't just some nice, fuzzy idea. The results are real. Research shows that xeriscaping designs save, on average, a staggering, get this, 54% in water use compared to those old-school landscapes. 54%! In a world where water scarcity is a real and growing problem, a number like that, well, it's a total game changer.
Another really key strategy is something called green infrastructure. And look, this is way more than just planting a few trees here and there. It's about thinking bigger. It's about designing this whole interconnected network of green spaces. We're talking everything from parks and green roofs to special pavements that let water soak through. They all work together as a system to manage stormwater, clean the air, and support wildlife. It's basically about turning our cities into living, breathing ecosystems.
All right, so that's the present. Now let's jump ahead a bit. If we can design with nature, it begs the question, right? Can we also build with it? And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. And that's all thanks to this incredible revolution happening in biomaterials. Just let that sink in for a second. The future of building is grown, not made. I mean, instead of firing up these massive carbon-heavy factories to manufacture materials, we're starting to literally grow them. This completely flips the script on what construction can even mean. Okay, so take mycelium, for example. That's the root structure of mushrooms, kind of like a web. And this isn't science fiction. This is happening now. It's a material that's super lightweight, but it's also durable and totally non-toxic. It's a fantastic insulator for both heat and sound. But here's the best part. It's fully compostable. That means it can just go right back to the earth, leaving zero waste. We're already seeing it replace fossil fuel-based stuff in things like temporary pavilions and cool-looking acoustic panels.
And then there's rammed earth. This is another incredible one. The process is just so, beautifully simple. You basically take a moist soil mix, pour it into a mold, one layer at a time, and then you just compact it down really hard. Then you do another layer, and another. When you finally take the mold away, what you're left with is this strong, gorgeous wall made literally from the earth itself. It just blends right into the landscape. Okay, so we have new ways of designing and new materials to build with. But it doesn't stop there. The design process itself is getting a massive upgrade. We are now officially entering an era where artificial intelligence, AI, is becoming this incredibly powerful partner in creating smarter, tougher landscapes.
And really, this is the core question that AI is helping us tackle. How do we design smarter, greener cities when we're dealing with climate change? I mean, there's just so much complex data to juggle, right? Climate models, population growth, land use. How can we possibly make the best decisions to build cities that are actually going to thrive in the future?
So what does AI actually do here? Well, it does a bunch of things. For starters, visualization. You can just type a text prompt into a tool like Midjourney and bam, you get an instant concept sketch. It can also crunch these enormous data sets to spot areas that are at risk for things like flooding or deforestation. But, and this is the really crucial part, it lets us test out different scenarios. We can ask it, okay, what happens if we build a park here or put a green roof on that building, and see the long-term impact before we even stick a shovel in the ground.
And this isn't theoretical, it's already happening all over the world. In Rotterdam, they're using AI models to predict flood scenarios with insane accuracy. Singapore has an AI toolkit that looks at satellite images to find the perfect spots to plant trees for the biggest cooling effect. In Delhi, an AI model can map heat stress risk down to a single building to help protect the most vulnerable people. So yeah, AI isn't some far-off future concept anymore. It's a practical tool that we're using to build climate resilience right now, today.
But with all this cool new tech and these amazing materials, it's really easy to forget the most important piece of the puzzle, us, people. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of any design is to create a better future for people and for our communities. And a perfect example of this people-first approach is the Sitta Slow movement, which literally means slow city. It's this whole philosophy that redefines what progress even means. It says it's not about being faster or bigger, it's about being better and more authentic. It puts the focus on local culture, traditional crafts, and a pace of life that lets people actually connect with where they live. It's all about making sure that development helps a community without erasing what makes it special in the first place. And of course, making sure this sustainable future actually happens, well, that really depends on the next generation, doesn't it? That's exactly why climate education is so critical. We're seeing a good amount of focus on it in places like Africa and Europe, which is great. But honestly, there's a global need to give kids the tools and the knowledge they need to navigate and innovate in this changing world of ours.
So, when you think about it, from those old gardens built to show off power, all the way to today's AI-optimized green cities, our landscapes are really just a mirror. They reflect what we care about, our priorities, our fears, and our hopes. So as we use all these incredible new tools and ideas to reshape our world, the question we have to ask ourselves is, what values are we going to build into the landscapes of tomorrow? What story are they going to tell about us?